Hi, I'm Caroline Harada. I am the Assistant Dean for Community Engaged Scholarship at the UAB School of Medicine, and I'm also an Associate Professor of Medicine, which means I'm a doctor for geriatric patients at UAB. So I oversee two different programs at the School of Medicine that I want to tell you about. The first is Learning Communities. Learning Communities is a program that tries to make a big medical school feel small. There's three basic components. The first is community, the second is academics, and the third is mentoring. And Learning Communities tries to touch on each of those as a part of our mission. So I'm going to talk to you first about community. So when you first arrive at medical school, it can feel really intimidating. There's 186 students and nobody knows each other. And immediately on your very first day of medical school, you get put in a learning community, and that becomes sort of your medical school. We put on socials every month. Learning communities will do service activities together. We have something called the Learning Communities Cup, where students compete for points and over the course of the year, and whichever learning community has the most points at the end of the year wins the cup. And then we have an Olympics, which involves athletic activities as well as silly things like a chili cook-off and a baby diapering competition. So this is one of the ways that UAB School of Medicine becomes a really comfortable and fun place for people to go to school while they're here. And there's my learning community after a service event in Montgomery. The second component is academics. So that's a big focus in Learning Communities also. Learning Communities is a program, and we try to encourage a lot of social activities, but we also have a class. And this class meets once or twice a month. And the three areas that we focus on are ethics, wellness, and professionalism. So we will prepare you for your step 1 exam, which you'll hear much more about later. In terms of the ethics content that's required to know, but we'll also spend a lot of time talking about how medical students and physicians can stay well throughout their training, as well as talking about a lot of complicated professionalism issues that come up throughout your training. And the third component is mentoring. Learning Communities is at its core a mentoring program. So within Learning Communities, you'll be assigned a peer mentor, somebody who is in the class above you, who will stay your mentor for all 4 years of medical school. You'll also have mentoring from faculty members. So each learning community has one faculty member who's sort of their lead, and then often a second faculty member who also assists. And you'll get to know that faculty member really well. You'll go to their house, you'll have coffee with them after class. We do a lot of one-on-one meetings with all of our students, and that mentor will be your mentor for all 4 years of medical school. We also have a program where students will get mentored by residents, people who finished medical school and but are still in training in the hospital. And the residents have a completely different perspective from other students and from faculty that can be very useful and valuable to medical students. So we set up lots of opportunities for you to also be mentored by residents. So that's the Learning Communities program. I also wanted to talk to you about the Service Learning program. This is an office that focuses on really helping students engage with the community in lots of different ways. We also have three main components to our programs. The first is true service learning, and I'll explain what that is in a minute. The second is special programs, and we have a number of those. And then the third is just finding lots of cool opportunities for you guys to engage with the community throughout medical school. So the first component is service learning. So what is that? What service learning is it's not just volunteering in the community, but it's integrating volunteer work into the curriculum. So it's ways for you to see the stuff you learn in the classroom applied in real life scenarios. So the picture that you see here is a bunch of our students during biochemistry, where they learn nutrition. We teach them how to do nutrition counseling. And then they go out into the community and teach cooking demonstrations at a farmer's market that's located in a food desert in Birmingham, sort of northeast Birmingham. And they do cooking demonstrations as a way to educate the community about nutrition. So they're practicing the lessons that they're learning in the classroom in the community. And they're meeting a community identified need. This was a farmer's market that really needed help getting more exciting activities happening at the farmer's market to try to bring people to the market. And so they really value the contribution of our students in providing something fun and entertaining for patrons who come to the market during the week. So we have lots of different service learning opportunities. With most of your modules that you'll go through in the first 2 years, there's a service learning option. So I explained the cooking demonstrations, but we also teach smoking cessation counseling during the pulmonary module. We teach vision screening during the neurology module. We do diabetes education during endocrine. We do clinical skills at our student-run free clinic as a part of our service learning programming. And then we do a lot of different programs to teach students about the social determinants of health. Students, these are all elective opportunities. You don't have to do these, but students will sign up on the very first day of each module to participate, and they generally are very popular and they fill very quickly. The second component of what we do in the Office of Service Learning is some focus programs. So for students who come into medical school knowing they want to work with underserved populations, or knowing that there's a real community issue that they want to engage with in a more in-depth manner, we have two different programs, the Health Equity Scholars Program and the Albert Schweitzer Fellowship Program, both of which students can apply for in their first year of medical school. And if they're selected for these programs, they get a much more in-depth, focused experience around understanding social determinants of health and learning how to do advocacy for improving community health. And then finally, the Office of Service Learning kind of serves as a clearinghouse for lots of different service opportunities. We have a lot of leadership opportunities for students who want to be in charge of a service organization, and we mentor those students in developing their program and in leading their peers in those volunteer opportunities. So Equal Access Birmingham is our student-run free clinic. That's a pretty complicated and intense experience for our students when they volunteer there. Almost all of our students do volunteer at our student-run free clinic at some point during medical school, and it's a great opportunity to practice your clinical skills and expand your medical knowledge while taking care of uninsured people who live in the community. But we also have things that aren't quite as clinical. We have tutoring programs at a number of different schools, both elementary and high school, as well as mentoring programs in high schools. We also have opportunities for you to be partnered with a senior citizen who is homebound. And you'll sort of work in collaboration with our House Calls program at helping that senior get a little bit of cognitive stimulation and socialization during their month. And then finally, we do a lot of health screenings around town. So we offer the opportunity to students to do both small and large commitments to public service through our office. So that's kind of a summary of both the Learning Communities program and the Office of Service Learning. We have staff for both programs and myself in Volker Hall, the medical school building, every day of the week. So if you're ever interested in talking to us more about any of these opportunities, we are always available. Thank you so much.